Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long, your host, here with my gorgeous co-host, Amy.
Hello.
We are coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. We're so glad that you're here. We have a really interesting show. You know, our kind of pseudo theme for this season has been road trips, the ones you should take, the ones that make, in particular, it's a big year here in the United States as we turn 250. And so it's kind of fitting in that theme. So this one would be no different because somewhere between Arizona and Utah, between the giant national parks and the strange little roadside stops, there's a road called Highway 89 that stopped being just a road and became one of the defining journeys of the American Southwest. Today on the show, we're taking a virtual drive down one of America's great road trip corridors, from red rock canyons and tiny desert towns to roadside pie shops, dinosaur museums, Western movie history, and the highways that quietly stitch the modern Southwest travel experience together. Because out here, we all know the destination is only part of the story.
Right. And I mean, everything you just said, this road, what does this road not have? I mean, you have dinosaurs, pie shops, Western movies, and national parks. I mean, what else is there?
And it stretches, I mean, from north to south. It almost stretches the complete way from, I think, the actual beginning of Highway 89 was around Tucson, Arizona, and it stretches all the way up to the Canadian border. So it circumvents a lot of territory. And along this route, it was never intended to be this beautiful nature way corridor. In fact, this road was christened the same year that its more famous counterpart, Route 66, was christened. It was christened in 1926.
So it's 100 this year.
So
also.
It's 100 years old this year as well. And these existed way before a lot of these national parks were ever fully realized. So not all of them, some of them were around, but it was never really intended like, hey, we're going to connect all these national parks. But this route just kind of became synonymous with this little bit of journey here in the American Southwest. So, you know, we spoke about road trips in detail, especially road trips that built the U.S. in episode 150, just a short time ago. So you can go back and check out all of those. But we kind of didn't touch too much on Highway 89, and some people call it Route 89.
Yeah.
And some people call it Route 89. Do you say route or route?
I say route.
Okay. It just depends on what part of the United States you're from. And I used to live,
well, growing up, we lived on a road that was called Route, I want to say 86. And I remember people would always say route, and I didn't know what they meant because I was a kid and I had only heard it pronounced as route. And I was like, what's Route 86? Like, is this a different thing?
So if you hear us say Route 89, Route 89, or Highway 89, we're all talking about the same thing. It's just one of those confusing, I think, American English style conundrums, right? So along this way, most travelers know the big famous parks. You have Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon, Capitol Reef, the Grand Canyon. Even people outside of the United States would probably know most of these more famous national parks, but fewer people realize many of these places are tied together by this one road. And if not this one road, then ancillary roads that come off of Highway 89 and connect everything with it. So originally it was established in 1926, like I said, a part of the first U.S. highway system. It runs from Arizona all the way through to Montana and close to the Canadian border. But today we're focusing on the Arizona and Utah corridor in particular, because this is where it all kind of just picks up steam as a scenic tourism route, right? But back in the day, like I said, it was more for infrastructure than anything else. It connected isolated ranching towns and mining communities and settlements and everything. And it was the road like this that kind of became the lifeblood to further growth of the Western United States in that time period. So before that, I mean, roads were just kind of The U.S. didn't have a highway system.
Right.
Roads were very dirt and gravel and not very friendly to
Oregon
cars.
Trail?
Yeah, basically, you were definitely going to die of dysentery. But after World War II, right, car ownership exploded in the U.S. and family road trips became a huge part of the culture and a huge part of how we looked at vacations and time off and just family time, and it kind of became what we call here in the States Americana.
Well, I see all the time on Pinterest when I'm looking at different road trips or places to travel, this particular road always pops up as they call it the National Park Corridor on a lot of places because it connects so many. And then, as you said, it goes up to Canada, and then in Canada, obviously, it turns into a Canadian highway. But then along that way, I believe, is Banff and a few others. So you can actually hit so many national parks either on this highway or in very close proximity, and then even go up into Canada and hit some of theirs. So if you are a national park junkie, kind of like we are, this is a drive you probably want to make at some point in your life.
Absolutely. Just like Route 66 or any of the other famous ones, and just to give you the scope of it, the southern section, because it is in two sections now because of the creation of Yellowstone National Park, right? The southern section runs 848 miles from around, and that's before, that's before Tucson. It goes from Flagstaff all the way up to the southern entrance of Yellowstone National. Then it picks up again. The northern section runs for another 400 plus miles that goes from Yellowstone all the way up to the Canadian border. So, I mean, right there, just 1,200 plus miles of highway. And it's kind of crazy looking at it that it's not just the national parks, because within reach of Highway 89 are all of those national parks that I mentioned, but also Lake Powell, the Grand Staircase National Monument, Vermilion Cliff National Monument. It's something crazy, like 15 to 20 other like national monuments, national forests, all kinds of designated protected lands here in the United States, and in particular, the American Southwest.
Right.
All are kind of either right directly off of Highway 89 or very close to Highway 89.
I'm really surprised we haven't done this drive yet.
We've done part of it.
We've done part of it. And I know when you went on your trip with John a couple of years ago, I think you guys did part of it too, because you did hit several of the Utah and then you went up to Yellowstone and
because
Glacier.
After the southern part of Utah, which is mainly what we're talking about, it goes up into Highway 89 goes up into Provo and then Salt Lake City. And then it kind of weaves back and forth between Idaho and Wyoming before it goes into Montana. So even places like Afton, Wyoming, Star Valley, where my best friend Tyler was born, that's the road that John and I traveled on the way back.
Okay.
And we were on it without even knowing it, but it is such a beautiful drive. Even up there, even the part we're not really talking about today is so gorgeous because it's one of those old highways that weaves with the land, that kind of follows the rivers.
They don't do that anymore.
They don't do that anymore.
No.
And the interstate system is very efficient, but it kind of...
It's not quite scenic.
We lost something.
We did.
With it. You know, we gained in efficiency. We lost the roads like weaving with the land and moving with the land and all of that. And we don't want to wax poetically about it, although we will at some point. But, you know, like I said, the interstate highways were designed to get you somewhere quickly, but Highway 89 became famous because it constantly gives you reasons to stop. And we are going to explore a lot of those reasons why we think you should stop. And some stops we've made along the way as it winds through like Page, Arizona, and outside of all of these wonderful national parks. Monument Valley.
Oh, yes.
We drove not too long ago.
Valley.
So keep it right here. It's one of the best drives in the United States. You're going to want to stick around. The Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-host and co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're in Sin City, Las Vegas. We're at the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. Man, we've been in these studios too long.
We need to go on a road trip.
Yeah, you got to go on a road trip. So at least there in a vehicle, you might be, in this confined space, but you can at least roll down the windows. It gets a little pungent in these studios sometimes. Anyway, so we're back. We're talking about one of the more famous road trip corridors that you need to take because it also turns 100 years old this year. Mm-hmm. And that's Highway 89, Route 89.
Route 89.
Route 89. And what did you say they called the what kind of corridor?
Like the National Park corridor.
There you go, the National Park corridor. And it's not just this main road because the U.S. Highway system, again, it was created in 1926, and it was our first iteration of trying to make sense of all of these roads that were expanding across the United States. So over time, some sections of the road were replaced in different areas. Towns started renaming roads in different moments like that, like especially when you get to Yellowstone, it kind of stops and they have their own road. I think it's Road 191 and they have some official name for it or something like that. But then it continues on again once you're out of the park. So there are different sections that used to exist and no longer, or maybe they're called something else now.
So can you actually drive this road straight through Yellowstone? It just changes names, or you have to get off the road? Because I didn't realize that it actually went through Yellowstone. I thought it just went beside it. I didn't know that the highway actually has a break in it at that point.
See, it goes up to, it passes Bridger-Teton National Forest. It goes through Jackson, Wyoming, where it actually turns into, I think, it's 89 up to Hoback, and then it turns into 191 here. So this is the 191 that goes through the Grand Tetons. Like these are the Grand Tetons right here. We're looking at a map right now, so you can see it. And then here's Yellowstone. Okay, and here's, this is all Old Faithful and all of this stuff. And then boom, at 191 splits again, and you go west to West Yellowstone, which is like the main entrance over there. Okay. And then it once again turns into Highway 89.
And that is glaciers off that area? Glacier National Park?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Glacier's over this way. Anyway, so yes, to answer your question, it does.
Oh, interesting.
Which paints a wonderful picture for the people listening to this.
Sorry.
Can't see what we're doing.
But he answered my question. Yes, you can actually drive continuously. The road just changes names for a short section.
Kind of like Route 66.
Yes.
Or Route 66. But everyone says Route. So everyone says Route 66. I don't know anyone that says Route 66. Anyway, Highway 89 is the backbone, is what we're saying.
We've thoroughly confused people.
But the feeder roads, really, they play an important part. And that's what I think elevates this up into almost a legendary status because of the connections. Because, most people like to get real technical and go, it doesn't really touch the road, so it's not a part of it. But there are so many different ancillary roads and little feeder roads that connect you just a few miles away to another national monument or a national forest,
right,
or a nature preserve or something like that keep the beauty going. And one we visited very recently in our adventures through southern Utah, and that is Scenic Byway 12.
I loved Scenic Byway 12. We had seen a little bit of it, but the first day coming into the area, and then we stopped to stay overnight, and then we drove the rest of it the next morning, I believe. So lovely. And it is another one of these roads that from the beginning to the end of it, two totally different sceneries. You are starting in kind of a red sandstone formation type of area, and you end up in the mountains and trees and beautiful lakes off in the distance. Just two very different sceneries, but it was so gorgeous to drive through. And it's another road that as you were saying, weaves with the scenery. And so you feel like you're actually a part of it and not just cutting through it.
Yeah. If you're coming like from Vegas to say like Bryce Canyon, at some point you're going to hit Highway 89 and may not even realize it or notice it, pay much attention. But if you go through it, I mean, you're going to land in towns like Panguitch and things like that. And then you're going to turn on scenic Highway 12, which also leads you through like the Red Canyon Arches.
Really cool.
Which
I love.
Absolutely love.
I mean, if you listen to the show, you know one of my favorite movies is apparently Disney's Cars. I love the scenery.
You say apparently.
Apparently.
You talk about it all the time.
I do. So apparently it's my favorite movie.
Okay.
But when Lightning and Sally are driving and they go through the rock arches, that is modeled after the same arches in Red Canyon on scenic Byway 12. So if you want to be a part of Cars, you have to take this drive.
And that's a good fit, because even though the scenic byway technically starts a little bit later down the road, Red Canyon is one of those spots where, I mean, tons of people make their way. I mean, almost million. I read this stat somewhere. It's like 1.3 million people descend on it per year.
Really?
To just get the pictures and the video of like going through the arches and all the wonderful hikes you can take without ever going to Bryce Canyon, without ever going past and going to like Capitol Reef or anything like that.
Well, I'm surprised Red Canyon isn't a national park itself. I feel like it should be. And there's so many hiking trails and just scenic overlooks in that little area. I don't know why it doesn't have that designation. I feel like it maybe deserves it.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion.
Well, and there's even a section of this road, like with 12 in Red Canyon, that's called the Hog's Back.
I love it.
And look, I'm not talking about your ex, okay? I'm not talking about your ex. This is one of the most famous sections of the drive. It's a narrow ridge road where there are really steep drop-offs on both sides. We know this
We
road.
did, yes.
It feels almost unreal the first time you drive it. And if you don't like heights, like I don't,
right,
it can be a little nerve-wracking, but that's only because I'm trying to watch the scenery and not pay attention to the road, which is dangerous to do.
Well, and the really steep drop-offs, they do not have guardrails. So there is nothing to stop you from just going over. Absolutely. You and I both, you drove going over it and I drove coming back. And even in the passenger side, it turned my stomach to look over the cliff. I had to keep my eyes on the road in front of us as you were driving. It was a little bit scary.
Yeah. So, I mean, to kind of boil it down, I mean, why these different roads, just like Scenic Byway 12 and so many others from north to south, they matter to the long legacy of Highway 89. Large parts of this region remained kind of isolated for decades. Terrain was terrible to try to get through. Road construction was difficult and expensive. So these routes opened massive sections of the canyon and everything to tourism itself. It's just expanded on the legend. Keep it right here. Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, I lost my voice. Hi, everyone. There you go. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Apparently, I'm going through puberty, and I'm with my partner. I don't know. I'm with Amy. She's giving me a look.
Hello.
Check us out online, unscaledtravelshow.com. All of our past episodes and interviews, all of that good stuff. So we were talking about the Natural Park Corridor, sometimes called Highway 89, other times called Route 89. But no matter what you call it, it is one of the most remarkable road trips you can take that really open up the American Southwest and the West in general, as it stretches all the way up to the Canadian border. So along with these roads, right, the creation of these roads as the highway system got more complex and started stitching together all these communities, were the rise of these tiny little towns that were just communities back in these old days. And then they kind of sprang up and there was new life given to them, especially when you started with the creation of the national parks and different things. And one of our favorite ones sits right outside of Zion, and it's called Springdale. And it's a beautiful little town.
Yeah.
And yes, while now it almost exclusively serves the visitors that go to Zion National Park, there is this wonderful quaintness to it that you can tell back in the day. I mean, there's hardly any, if not almost none, like major corporations involved.
They don't have franchises there, I believe. I don't remember seeing any.
If there are, they're very few.
Maybe a Subway because they're everywhere.
Yeah, but like most of the places are mom and pop places,
right?
And locally owned, and and the Subway sandwiches and everything. And then there's another place that is often called like the Little Hollywood of Southern Utah or the American Southwest. And it's a place called Kanab, Utah.
Right. And I think it's not just Kanab that's called that. I am on the Kanab Museum.org site, and they have a list of movies that have been filmed in the area going all the way back to 1924. But some of these are in what is called Kanab now. Some of them are closer to Page, Arizona, where Horseshoe Bend is. But there's just a list of old westerns from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. But then you even get into like the Planet of the Apes from the 70s, and the 2001 version were shot there.
With Marky Mark?
Yes.
What?
Star Wars Return of the Jedi had scenes shot out there. Several of the Mission Impossible movies have had scenes shot out there, along with one of our other favorite movies, The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. The first one shot out in Kanab.
There you go. And if you've never Googled images, go ahead and I'll give you a second. Go ahead and Google those images of Kanab, Utah, and you can see why. Especially around that area, if not the city itself. It's the bright red Aztec sandstone. It's, these natural wind and water eroded features that make it look like you are, or your mind can picture what maybe a Mars would look like, or a planet in Star Wars or something like that would look like. It looks unlike anything else that's out there. And it just happens to be in our backyard here.
Yeah. Yeah. There's several other science fiction movies that have been shot out there. Almost every, if any person in your realm likes old westerns, I would say almost every old western had scenes shot out there.
At some point,
because it's desert, but it also does in areas have this otherworldly quality, as you were saying. So it kind of appeals to quite a few people, and that's just this one little small part of southern Utah. And as we were saying, this Highway 89, that's just like the bottom of it. So if that's what you're getting in the first couple of hours, just imagine what the rest of this drive looks like with all these little towns that you go through. So much really interesting scenery.
Yeah. And it's one of these, it's kind of crazy because you would think that if you're going to pass through there, it's going to be like this little hokey kind of tourist trappy place. And it gives proper due to its past, and all the famous actors of the time, John Wayne and Henry Fonda and all these people knew Kanab and shot around, these areas and things like that. But it also serves a purpose for the modern traveler and the modern outdoor adventurer who's going on to these national parks and things. So you'll find actually very modern communities. And in fact, Kanab has a hot air balloon festival every single year that thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people turn out to see. I believe it's in the fall every year. It's one of the more beautiful ones out there. But then there are areas like Page, Arizona. Page, Arizona sits right over the border in the northernmost part of Arizona. And it was a town that really kind of didn't exist before the 1950s. It was kind of built to house workers constructing the Glen Canyon Dam, which sits right up the Colorado River from like Lake Mead here in Las Vegas. So, but it eventually became one of the Southwest's largest tourism hubs, with places like Antelope Canyon, Horseshoe Bend, and Lake Powell itself, which the dam created.
Right. We've stopped through there a couple of times. We've been to Horseshoe Bend and Antelope Canyon, Lake Powell. We've even just driven through on the way home from other areas. And I think I would say even in the last decade, this area has expanded so much bigger than it used to be, probably because of, social media and seeing what these areas actually look like, that they've had to build parking lots on the side of the road for people to have a place to stop and view
go
the scenery.
See like Horseshoe Bend.
Exactly.
I see pictures of Horseshoe Bend from the air, and people are like, wow, we're really lucky. This water created this beautiful natural bend right here next to this parking lot. It's because it's huge.
And now they charge you to park there.
Yeah, now they charge you like $10 to park there. But it's also like Page is also home to what they call the most beautiful
gas station, or the most scenic gas station in the world.
The most scenic gas station in the world, which is a shell gas station that people park at and follow this dirt trail. And behind it is a famous arch called, I think it's Biddy.
I think
Beatty,
it's Biddy.
Maybe Beatty, whatever. Beatty the Arch. Biidi.
Yeah.
So keep it right here. It's an Unscaled Travel Show. We're going to have more when we come back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-host, co-explorer Amy.
Hello.
We are in Sin City, Las Vegas. Yeah, we are. In the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios, we're talking about the the National Park Corridor. I always want to call it the Nature Road. That's the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Oh.
Anyway, so, we're talking about Highway 89, and we kind of lost it at the end there, but we were talking about the most cinematic gas station in the world.
Right. The Shell station.
The Shell station in Page that just, you follow a path and there's this beautiful natural arch behind that has become over the years one of the most famous stops, not only because of its beauty, but I think also because of the quirkiness of it's just behind a gas station.
Right. Yeah. Like who would have thought?
Now listen, there are a lot of things behind most gas stations in the United States, if I'm being perfectly honest. Most of these things you don't want to deal with, especially look, here in Vegas, go behind any of our gas stations. Actually, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Because you're going to find different things. None of them I would describe as a natural wonder and beauty.
It could be scenic.
It is. It's going to be a scene, man. It's going to be a scene. I'll tell you that much. Anyway.
Well, didn't on the road trip you were on with our son last year, and you guys did drive up through Utah into Idaho, I believe, and you went to Shoshone Falls. Is that close to Highway 89? Because I thought you told me right behind a gas station there was this beautiful overlook, and you were like, yeah, we were just at a parking lot and just seeing this beautiful.
No. I know where you're going, and we don't have time to look up on a map that people can't see again. So no, it does follow, because we went through northern Nevada. We didn't even go through Salt Lake City or anything else like that.
I was wrong.
And it wasn't a gas station. It was a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, okay. I totally had that story wrong.
It was a Buffalo Wild Wings, and there is a beautiful waterfall just right behind it. Probably the most cinematically beautiful Buffalo Wild Wings. There it is. And it's in Boise, or is it Twin Falls? Whatever. It's, I think, Twin Falls, Idaho.
Well, not
If
on
you're
the highway
curious.
we're talking about.
Yes, not, but that'll come up in a different show later on. So another like major thing, you talk about the natural arches, and we've kind of alluded to it, but the landscape itself, and what they call the Hollywood effect, kind of this visual identity was created of like, this is what the American Southwest is, even though it's parts of it, and it is gorgeous. Back in, before the internet was created and all of that, people then had this idea in mind that this is what the American Southwest was, from Arizona all the way up to, Idaho and those parts like that. Like this, it's going to be red Aztec sandstone everywhere, and it's going to be this gorgeous. And for a while, I mean, it is correct.
It is. Yeah.
You started seeing it pop up on postcards, and like we said, countless films and TV shows. So it started in The Lone Ranger, back in the 50s. And,
Yes.
it just became part of, if you lived back east or if you were overseas and you started hearing stories and seeing stories about the American Southwest or the American West, this is what you pictured. Highway 89 cutting through all of this. This is exactly what filled in the blanks for people. Like, what does it look like? It looks like this right here.
Right.
No matter how far you travel on the road.
Well, and then the crazy part is, as you said, it goes up to Yellowstone and then on to Canada. And then you get into this whole other scenery that is Yellowstone National Park, Grand Tetons National Park. This whole, it's almost...
It completely transforms.
Yes, it's almost the total opposite of where the road starts.
Yeah.
And it's just as cinematic, just as beautiful. And you're seeing a lot more, I think, of that area in more current TV and movies and things. There's it kind of like the whole Western cowboy thing has come back, but they've taken it north and set it at the top part of this highway.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that it's the scale. I think people can't imagine when they see it for themselves. They drive through the arches that cover the roads and like all this. It's almost like I didn't know something like this could exist, because it's just so. I mean, you see tall mountains and you see those kind of things, but you've never seen quite the landscape that this will take you down or through if you take the time to drive Highway 89. And it's amazing, like you said and you were alluding to, like, you can drive it for these 1,200 miles and you're going to get something different almost in every state.
Yeah.
In almost every little bit. And it like goes green and then red and it's arid. And then all of a sudden there's trees everywhere again. And it's kind of crazy, but that also feeds into the legend of how miraculous this road is.
Yeah. And I mean, as we were talking about before we went to break, it's not even just this road. It's all the roads that go off of it and the little adventures they take you on and the little bits of scenery and things that you probably have heard of or seen in a postcard somewhere or on TV, but now you actually get to be a part of it. And so this corridor, it really is. It's like you're not necessarily just, okay, I'm touching this national park. I'm touching this national park. It has all these other little side adventures that you can go on. It's kind of the perfect road trip.
Yeah. And this is like in the 50s and 60s when tourism started booming, tourism to the national park started booming. This is the vision that they sold to the rest of the world too. When you look at the movies and the pictures and the commercials and even the tourism ads back in the day, it was like, get out and this is freedom. Because it's so wide open, it's so big and, and never ending or whatever. Come, jump on the back of John Wayne's horse and
right along with the Lone Ranger. Or
get
Butch
along,
Cassidy,
little doggy,
right?
That sort of thing. And that's what the image was sold to the rest of the world. And that's how they knew it. And so to this day, millions of visitors descend to at least different sections of Highway 89 to get their own little piece of this little dream that they've learned about since they were little kids. So keep it right here. Unscaled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with my co-host and co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
Check us out online, unscaled.travelshow.com. We appreciate all of our new viewers and everything on our YouTube channel. Also at Unscaled Travel Show. You're going to see some fun, interesting stories. Should gather your whole family around and watch all the different stories on there. People are going to get mad at me because they're going to be like, this is not what I expected. I thought we were going to get the 10 best pizza shops in Flagstaff. And instead, it's a murder mystery. Yes. Yes, the YouTube is a little bit different than our show. But we're glad to have you here, too. Because we don't do the 10 best anything anywhere. But we still talk about weird stuff, including the weird things, some of the weird things that you can find today on Highway 89. You decide to take that road trip. One of the, like, we've done episodes in the past, and I think it's like episode 144, 145 or so, where we've done, am I boring you?
I'm sorry.
You're yawning in my face. Wow. We've done episodes before where we talk about our love for roadside attractions, like odd roadside things. You know, we've stopped by roadside things, giant dinosaurs, the famous giant apricot or artichoke apricots too. I'm sure there's one out there. We've seen giant pieces of furniture. We saw the leg lamp in Oklahoma. There's all kinds of like fun.
Which, by the way, one of the best roadside oddities there is.
What is that, Chickasha?
Yes.
Chickasha, Oklahoma. The leg lamp from A Christmas Story. They have a giant one there. And it's awesome. And you should go see it. And that's on Route 66. Totally different than what we're talking about today. But on Highway 89, not to be outdone, there's still a lot of these just roadside oddity places. Mm-hmm. It's almost a rite of passage for the American road trip.
Yeah.
Because we kind of reinforce that in those episodes when we talk about these roadside things. Like that's a part of it. And kind of what we're saying at the kickoff of this episode, like the journey is part of the thing. It's not just the destination. It's not just where you're headed, but it's the actual traveling of this road and getting to experience the beauty and the wonder, but also a little bit of the weirdness.
Right. And, whenever I tell people we're going on a road trip, they always ask the same question. Where are you going? And I always tell them the same thing.
I don't know.
It's not really about a destination. It's just about getting on the road and seeing things. Because we usually don't have like, we're going to drive to this particular spot and then come back. We're just going to get on the highway and go in a direction and see what we see. So I think a lot of people they get on the road to get to the destination. Mm-hmm. And you and I have very much decided we want to see what there is along the way. So every time we see a sign for something unusual or a little bit odd, or even, hey, maybe that's interesting, especially with your love of history, you always are like, no, we don't have to stop. And what do I always say? We're here. Let's just do it.
Like a just exhausted mom. She just always says, we're here.
We're here. Well. When are we going to be back? We're here. Let's go do it.
Yeah, except for gas stations. Never do that. So, we were talking a lot about Kanab, Utah. What? We were talking about Kanab, Utah. And just north of there are some delightful stops. Some of them of a nature, like the sand caves and the real life dinosaur tracks that you could go see that are almost directly off the side of the road, off of Highway 89. North of Kanab. But there's also this wonderfully weird restaurant that has been around for a very long time, and it's called the Thunderbird Restaurant. And it's kind of famous and infamous because it's home of the tasty I'm trying not to get canceled here. Of the tasty homemade pie.
I think you need to say that again.
It is home of the homemade pie and pies in general.
And pies in general.
And it's HOMADE, homemade. Legend has it that the store owner at the time simply ran out of room on the sign while trying to spell homemade. And he just imagined like, okay, this should just be homemade, right? I mean, people will get that. They're flying by at 40 or however fast cars went back then, because the store opened the restaurant opened in like the 1930s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's been around for a while.
Do you think this is a case of when you start writing something and you write the first few letters way too big? And then you have to squish all the rest of the letters in the little bitty space?
Big O H.
And you got H-O. Oh, no. I don't have enough room for all those other letters.
Yeah, that's exactly like you're making a sign for, for your sweetie when they're coming home. And you're going to meet them at the airport. And you're like, big O-H. And a little, oh no, I've already messed up. And you think you learned your lesson and you start with a big O-P. And you're like, oh man, I'll never learn. So anyway, it's famous for the homemade pies, and these are and they have Thunderbird pies, which are the most popular, which is like a mixed berry pie, but these are served up fresh every day. But it's one of those stops that people love to make, not only now because homemade, which doesn't mean what it means unless your mama works there, but it's become one of those legendary Southwest road trip stops because almost everybody ends up taking a homemade pie.
Really?
I'm with them.
That's so funny.
So Thunderbird.
That's so funny.
Also near Kanab. How do you follow that up? I was going to talk about this cave. It's called Moki Cave. That's also directly like north of Kanab. Has dinosaur tracks and everything. But how do you follow up homemade pie?
Well, you probably should have ended with that one. I mean, dinosaur tracks and fossils are really cool, but they're not funny.
They're not like that. Not funny. Haha. Like, there is this one cool spot. It's called the Belly of the Dragon. The Belly of the Dragon is a hiking area. The trailhead, I believe, is just off the road, but it is a gorgeous, gorgeous spot because it's technically a drainage tunnel under the highway, but it's kind of become a weird unofficial roadside stop because the tunnel walls look like the inside of some great giant dragon.
It kind of looks like an esophagus, like the inside of one.
So it's like one of those things that people accidentally discover, and then they're like, "Oh, look at this."
Have you ever been there?
We'll walk through the belly of the dragon and then go get some homemade pies. I get at least one more before I get a call from the FCC, right?
That's it, though.
So, and there's also a tiny town near Lake Powell that has some serious paleontology history.
Oh.
It's called Big Water. The surrounding region became a hotspot for dinosaur discoveries. And that's why roadside dinosaur statues and fossil shops suddenly start appearing through the corridor just around Lake Powell and that sort of area because they started finding dinosaur things everywhere.
I mean, it is true because even when we've driven from here up to Kanab, right after you get into Utah, you start seeing signs that says like directions to how to get to different dinosaur / fossil, not exhibits, but places where you can see them. So this whole area used to be underwater way back when.
Like recently?
No. Way back when, like before dinosaurs and stuff. But yeah, there's so many places in southern Utah that you can see the dinosaur tracks and fossils, and then even also in parts of mid Nevada too. If you're just in this area, there's quite a few fossils over here. Very interesting if you're into paleontology.
Very.
And we have met a paleontologist.
We actually met one.
I know. That's random.
Wild. I didn't think these people actually existed.
I didn't think it was a real job.
We met one in the wild. Paleontologist. Keep it right here on Scale Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. Jeremy Long here with his homemade pie. Baker? I don't know. Amy?
You need to be careful with that one.
There. Yeah. I know. As soon as I started saying it, I was like, how many affiliates are we going to lose? A few. That's always the answer. A few. Our silly little show. Thank you, Bisbee. Anyway, it's an inside joke.
Not really.
We're chatting about Highway 89, the national park corridor, as it's been dubbed over the years. This one's having a moment, too. Mm-hmm. With the turn of the highway system of like turning 100, Route 66 turns 100. This one was also christened in 1926. It turns 100. And then, yet on top of that, that's the United States of America's 250th birthday. So a lot of these things are kind of coming to the top, or at least having the cycle back in this case. So if you go on like Instagram, TikTok, you start seeing this pop up. Mm-hmm. Be careful what you click on, because then all of a sudden your feed is just nothing but this, and you'll be infected with the bug.
Yeah.
To go travel.
Absolutely.
Oh no, that's a horrible thing.
Join us.
Yeah, please join us. We're pod people. But also, one of the funny things is on a lot of these road trips, especially in the American Southwest, is you'll see signs for homemade beef jerky. Mm-hmm. Around in Vegas.
Wait. Homemade jerky. It's not always beef.
That is a good clarification. Homemade jerky. It's not always beef. Because here in Vegas, you'll see signs for alien jerky. Mm-hmm. Given our proximity to Area 51 and UFOs and all that stuff. Now, I won't recommend any places, because if you go to a place and no one ever hears from you again, I don't want people being like, oh, he heard it on Unskilled. And he went to this random trailer out in the middle of the desert for some jerky. Look, that's up to you. Okay. Sometimes it's just natural selection. But if you do that and you have a fantastic time, post it online and
tell us where you got this amazing jerky.
I would love to do an interview if you survive or whatever. But there's also things that used to be a lot more popular have kind of fallen off of the years, like old trading posts. Mm-hmm. Trading posts used to actually let you trade things. Now they just want money. They want to trade.
It's just a store.
They want to trade you junk for your money.
Right.
And depending on how much money you have, you may be okay with buying some of the junk. I'm not, but it is fun to go in every once in a while. Some of these places, look, this is part of the fun and the weirdness, right? Mm-hmm. Some of these places, everything's dirty.
Yeah.
You can tell, like, this place is on its last legs. And then some of them are really nice and nicely kept, and you feel a little bit more comfortable. So it's at your own discretion. But the fun is going into the dirty ones and going, what part of this can I take on with me that won't either kill me or haunt my loved ones?
Some of them have oddities too. The roadside attractions.
Yeah. They have the roadside attractions. For some reason, they all have fudge.
Yeah.
They're all selling fudge.
Maybe because it was easy to make. I don't know.
The jerky, I understand. It's dry. You can jerk
don't know.
beef or jerk
I'm thinking
whatever.
of a particular one, though, that had all kinds of, they said it was like alien things in it. But, a lot of just things to look at in there that weren't even for sale. It was more like half museum, half trading post. They're just like, what do they call them? Curiosities?
Yeah. Yeah, cabinets of curiosities.
Yeah, that's what a lot of these old trading posts have kind of turned into.
If you want that in a live, almost like a people zoo, then you want to go visit some of these like roadside cafes too. Mm-hmm. The roadside cafe is an amazing environmental oddity in itself, because it's literally in this place, like You'll just be driving on 89 or any one of these roads of the American Southwest, honestly. And then just like, there's a cafe. Like there's no town. There's just a cafe. And everyone always asks the same questions. Like, number one, who works here?
Mm-hmm.
Number two, who's eating here?
Right.
Because there's no job. There's no like office building nearby that the workers are coming and like, let me go eat at this cafe.
People driving down the road and they're like, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
No, we've seen one though. One that we're driving down the road, nothing for miles, and all of a sudden it just said diner.
Yeah.
Diner in big red letters. And we're like, what is this?
That was off of the loneliest road in America in northern Nevada, which is its own oddity and fun little road trip and everything. But I don't think you remember, I might have been driving, you might have been kind of passed out in the passenger seat, but it is somewhere between Colorado and when we were driving through Arizona, there was another one that was just out in the middle of nowhere. And I didn't catch the name of it, unfortunately, but there's always like 2 to 3 cars out front, you know?
I would say something else in that category is the random gas stations.
Yeah.
Just the random gas station, nothing else around. And there'll be like 3 cars there.
Yeah.
And, you're just like,
and no one's pumping gas.
Right.
So like, what's going on? Which kind of makes, this almost sounds like it's turning into a murder mystery itself, like a true crime thing, but like, and we're all like egging you on, take the adventure. Like, pull in there. Tell us, have you survived? Tell us how that is.
If you like this part of the show, you'll like the YouTube channel.
Because it's part of the fun, though, is like, can we survive this? You know? And we've accepted that there's a certain amount of danger in all of this. Like, I wouldn't send you on your own. I wouldn't be like,
go on
hey, you go down there. You go down Highway 89 and tell me what you find.
By yourself, yeah. No.
But there is a certain fun in the unknown, too. Because, and while I'm poking and I'm having a little bit of fun with it, when you go into some of these trading posts, and there are too many I feel like I would do a disservice if I mentioned one and not the other.
Yeah.
But there's quite a few of them along this route, and they're easy to find if you just Google, you know, but you go in there and it kind of opens you up to different things because like you said, there are curiosities in there. Some of them do have like, if you're in Arizona or like the New Mexico region, they'll have the beautiful turquoise, necklaces and jewelry and things like that. The further north you get, it gets a little bit more tied to the native cultures and First Peoples cultures and everything, because a lot of these will fall on reservation land too. So when you go in there, it's decidedly different and it has a totally different feel than the random American ones. Right. Because those, I'm like, okay, I don't know about this. But the native ones, number one, they seem happy that you're actually there. Yeah. Like, come in, and they got a lot of good stuff in there that, honestly, if I was like, if I had more room or whatever in the car, I would buy so much stuff. You've talked me out of buying so many things. You've talked me out of buying things, too. But we still always buy. But you try to buy, like, dining room sets. It's weird. Like, you're like, Jeremy, this is hand carved. Well, there is a bowl that I bought despite you telling me not to. It's a beautiful hand-painted bowl. It's not hand-painted. You get suckered. And now there's a story. I think it's a beautiful hand-painted bowl. Let me live in my fantasy. Okay? In my mind, it's priceless. It was worth the $80 I paid for it. Slightly dusty. It gets used like once a year. Yeah, a little bit weird. Always independent. That's what we think. Oh, so it's like, the national parks get the headlines. Those are obviously the big draw. Mm-hmm. But again, the trip is part of it. It's not just the destination. It's not just getting to the national park and climbing and doing all these beautiful hikes and everything, even though that's a major part of it. It's still taking the journey. Yeah. And just, it's kind of one of those things. You got tunes on, your favorite ska band. Do people listen to ska? I don't even know. Your favorite ska band? I don't even know. Benny and the Jets or something that's playing. Elton John's playing. And like, you got the windows down. The red sandstone is passing by at 60 or if you're driving 90, 95 miles an hour back there in these back roads. And you You can leave the music on and let it play, or just turn it off and enjoy. Right. And the sky is big and blue, and it just kind of opens up to this whole other world, and that's a part of it. You know?
I have a question for you. So we've talked about, we're mainly focusing on the southern part of this road, but the northern part is actually, Wyoming, Montana. The Going to the Sun Road is one of the roads that comes off of this. Which part do you like better, the southern part or the northern part?
I've spent more time in the southern part, so I kind of default there. But I think a road trip is in our future. We'll go up north. Well, we hope we've given you some laughs, some homemade pies, a lot of other things. Highway 89, go out there and celebrate it, right? I'm laughing already. We'll see you guys next time on Scale Travel Show.